Hello footies, Wimb here. Just a quick little note ahead of today's episode. Now, we recorded this early in the morning on Tuesday the 17th. In the hours after we recorded, while John was editing this, EA dropped a little amendment to the patch notes ahead of the release. They have now confirmed that the web app will be available from the 18th of September. That is Wednesday, with the companion app dropping on the 19th. So we do refer to quite a few things as, the companion app and web app being out on the 19th. They've changed it, so you can already add their little mistake counter to 2 for the new year. But yeah, confirmation there that the web app is going to drop on the 18th. So over here are references to the 19th. That explains it. Anyway, enjoy the show. Hello, footies. Oh, that wasn't the smoothest of fades there, but, it's Tuesday. It is the 17th of September. You are listening to FUT in Review, powered by FUTcoaching.com. It's episode 622. Is our first midweek show of the new season. My name is Dan Wimbush, otherwise known as Wimby, and what a show we have for you today, because it is launch week, everybody. FC25 will be with us in just a matter of hours from when you hear this very show. And just as we'd had a really nice show prepared, we'd had all of our tips for things like the web app and everything like that, EA went and dropped a massive set of pitch notes for the new game, and it has caused quite a stir. Massive changes to several game modes and just the whole way we play and consume this game. That's all to come over the next 45 minutes or so. I will be joined for this journey. Those of you who are watching on video will already have seen them, but it is the Scout Nathan Downs and my main man Shaq Attack. So much to get into. So let's start it with this week in FUT. I'm still trying to get used to the whole new shenanigans we've got going on in the studio. As you would have heard John and Chris talk about on Friday, lots coming to the show this year. But unfortunately, while we introduce lots of new features, we have to deal with old duffers like me still controlling and steering the ship. But gents, it is FC25 launch week. Nathan, I'll start with you. How are you feeling about it all?
The hype's starting to really take off. I'm jumped on that hype train. I can't speak. It's been a wee while. Sorry. I've had a holiday, so I've been away from the whole sort of FUT thing. I've managed to avoid all the socials, all the plugs until the last couple of days, and obviously we've got our wee group chat going, and I'm sort of waking up in the morning especially and seeing all the messages there, reading up with it, and getting back involved in the Discord. So the hype's certainly starting to build and roll along nicely, I think, at this time.
Yeah, we've got 24 hours a day covered in our little Discord and our little WhatsApp chat between me working silly hours of the day. You got Shaq, the other side of the world, and Nath, kind of a 9 to 5 man, but still got young kids, so he's up at whatever time. But Shaq, my man, it's been a week since we last spoke, or a couple of weeks since we did our wrap up show. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing really well, thank you very much. And up till 24 hours ago, I just wasn't really hyped about the game. I thought it was going to get me when it got me, and then woke up this morning to all the news, and yeah, I'm hyped. I really can't wait for this damn game to get here. So yeah, it's good.
I know, it does feel like an eternity. So look, we got, as I said, loads to get to, so I'm going to start waffling. The first thing of note is, of course, they clarified when the web app is going to be out. Now, we had thought it was going to drop on Wednesday with the first team of the week. They have actually said it's going to drop on the 19th of September, which is a Thursday. They didn't announce a specific time for that, whether it will be 6 o'clock or whether they'll just drop it at some point during the day. We are not sure. So have to wait that a little bit longer. And then, of course, the early access period begins on Friday the 20th. Midnight local time. So I imagine a fair few people might be hopping on a little plane to New Zealand, of course, being about 12 hours or 11 hours ahead of the UK over here, meaning that, if you just so happen to be in New Zealand, you might get on that a little bit earlier. For Xbox users, that is. PC users will have to wait a little bit longer. Sorry, Nath. And PlayStation people will too. So the interesting thing, first of all, just before we delve into all these massive changes about game modes, let's talk practicalities. Shaq, this is going to be the first year where realistically there's pretty much no web app period, because people will be on the game, and the masses will possibly be on the game before the web app even drops.
Definitely. I was just calculating the times, and for me, I get the game at midnight on Friday morning, midnight Thursday night, Friday morning for me. and the web app actually officially comes out at 4 a.m. So I get the game well before the web app even comes out. So the web app, the whole grind of the web app is gone. And I think going off last year, we probably didn't do anything on the web app. It was really hard to grind any coins, and we grinded stuff for maybe half a day and then realized there's nothing to do. So yeah, it's not a big miss.
Yeah, of course they changed a lot of the rewards for the initial starter SBCs. They made those untradeable. So actually getting coins full stop was so difficult. Like Shaq said, we just kind of ran into a bit of a dead end really early. Nate, one of the good things, though, they did also announce in terms of the web app period and stuff is that we will be getting some sort of a welcome back reward, which most people are tending to read as packs. So it'd be nice to get that little bit of a bonus for, being in the second edition of FC.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people commented last year that we didn't get anything, but it kind of made sense going from FIFA to FC. The only sort of hesitant thing I've got for that is we know it's EA and we know how some of their stuff works. So, don't get overhyped about these welcome packs. It's probably going to be a set of kits, a set of contracts. Oh no, the contract's been removed, haven't they? Set of kits.
Contract's gone.
Yeah, so it'll be kits and tifos probably, but a few nice packs would be quite welcome. But don't hang yourself on these welcome packs.
Yeah, and look, we'll talk about our first initial steps and what we're planning to do as soon as we get onto, the web app and the game itself. We'll talk about that towards the end of the show. But let's delve into the big talking point. And this caused a huge stir, gents, because, we were sitting there, casual Monday, we were waiting for these, launch pitch notes. We hadn't expected too much. But EA dropped a bit of a bomb on us all because they have basically ripped up a lot of the game modes as we know and love them. All 4 of the main competitive modes that you can play in Ultimate Team, being squad battles, division rivals, live FUT friendlies, and FUT champions, all 4 have been changed. Now, before we get into the specifics of how they've changed, I thought I'd read from the notes what they were hoping to do, because this is really important for looking at these changes. Because if I just go and tell you FUT champs is down from 20 to 15 games, that will provoke one reaction. But I think it's important for each of these we keep this narrative in mind and what EA are hoping to achieve. So they've said we are, in addition to the new seasons, we're focused on delivering some major changes to the core modes within Ultimate Team. There's 4 themes that are driving our decision making behind these changes. 1, unique mode identities. In recent years, the purpose behind some of our modes was beginning to converge. We think the changes we are making to how you play and how you'll be rewarded will help re-establish a unique identity for each mode. Number 2, play at your level. We want to ensure that players are more consistently finding matches that provide the right level of competition. Number 3, reward elite play. This was one top of the mind for FC25, but on reflection, we think we got to a good spot with this one over the course of the year, but missed the mark for launch. We're making changes to improve this for the launch of FC25. And the 4th point here is connected rewards. It's important that rewards feel connected to what's happening in Ultimate Team, so we'll be focusing on delivering frequent updates to keep mode rewards relevant throughout the cycle. So keep those 4 things in mind as we go through each of these changes. So let's start with the big one, FUT champions. In FC25, we're positioning champions as the pinnacle of high-stakes competitive matchups, and we want the rewards and accessibilities champions to reflect that. Last year, we think we made the Champions Finals too accessible, particularly to lower skill players. As a result, many players went on extended losing streaks and Champions rewards didn't reach their full potential. This year, Champions will not only be more challenging, but it will be more rewarding for higher skilled players. So that is their modus operandi. That is their reasoning behind all these changes. I'm not going to read through each and every change here because the pitch notes are fully available. Go to EA FC25, their Twitter page, and the pitch notes are there. The key takeaways here: FUT Champions Finals is going down from 20 to 15 games. You'll just get a point for a win, and it's I don't even know why they're not just doing a win-loss record at this point. But the big one that has got everybody very, very riled up, or at least having opinions one way or the other, is that playoffs have now been reduced from 10 games to 5. And instead of having to win 40% of your matches, so 4 out of 10, you now need to win 60% of your matches. You need to win 3 out of 5. Now, the other thing that comes along with that is you will now get 18 attempts to reach FUT champions every season. Previously, it was 10. So effectively, you had 1 chance every week to make it. This time you've effectively got 2, sometimes even 3, if you make it first time on 1 week, for example. Gents, I'm going to start with you, Nath. When you first read these changes to FUT Champs, what was going through your head?
So initially, I can see both sides why people would be buzzing about this, but also why people are slightly more miffed by it. The clues in the name, though, FUT Champs. It's not Weekend League anymore. It's FUT Champs. So I think for it to be FUT Champs, and I think they've done really well, and they've said that the rewards are going to be massively improved, and going by the release, the rewards are tremendous. So to be in Champs, you've kind of should be at a certain level. That's why it's called Champs. So the qualifying is going to be tight. I think the first few weeks, few months is going to be really sweaty. Winning 3 out of 5 is going to be quite intense, I think. I think it's a good thing because people were neglecting rivals and going into Champs, getting half decent rewards, but actually the pack weight was dire anyway, so the rewards didn't mean much. It looks like they've tweaked that, so the rewards should be good. I also think that they probably won't keep to 3 out of 5. I could see them going 4 out of 7 or something like that, or even 3 out of 6, 3 out of 7. So it's not 4 out of 10. I don't think I ever really struggled, and I'm not blowing my own trumpet, but regularly, I think all of us kind of went 8 or 9 out of 10 wins in qualifiers, which was a nice change of pace. But ultimately, they're wanting to make Champs kind of a top level, the top tier sort of environment. So the only way to do that is to increase the difficulty to getting in. However, I do feel for those that will struggle to qualify, and I'll probably struggle in the first couple of weeks, so you get your head around, your squad, the way the game feels, everything else. But I think that, the better players deserve the better rewards. And, we always hear this thing about skill gaps, skill issues, whatever. It probably will create a little bit of a drift between certain sort of divisions and levels. But I think it's a good thing. I think it's going to make all the other modes kind of come in tow, and you'll find different modes better and more rewarding and more fun as well. Whereas if you want to go into Champs, it's going to be a sweat fest. Your rain jacket's on, your umbrella's out, you are waiting for that water. So I think it's a good thing, but I can totally sympathise with people that are sort of feeling a little bit off by it.
Yeah, to expand on EA's reasoning behind this, they've said the reason we've reduced it is for 2 reasons. For players of a higher skill level, it'll make the process of qualifying for finals faster. And the second one, for players of a lower skill level, it'll make playoffs a better reflection of your finals experience, ensuring that you'll only qualify for Champions Finals once you're ready to be competitive. And they touched on the rewards, and they've only sort of officially announced what you get for rank 1, which is 15 wins in finals. And my word, is it an absolute king's ransom here. 200,000 coins, a tradable 85 by 10, a tradable 84 by 10, an untradeable base icon, an untradeable 89 by 2, and an untradeable 82 times 30, and 3 tradable team of the week times 3 players packs. Shaq, that's about 1 million coins worth straight out the bat. And I think the overall reaction, I think for most, for that particular reward is, if you're hitting that, fair play, 15 wins, good luck to you. It's been a long time since those who were at the very top got those kind of rewards.
Absolutely. I think there's 2 ways to look at it. One is EA are gatekeeping a mode that we wanted more players to participate in, and we wanted everyone, the qualifying to not even exist last year. For some people, they didn't really want qualifying to exist. And that happened in EA FC24, 23. Entry was slightly easier, and the rewards were attainable. The other way to look at it, when was the last time any of us actually packed something off note in FUT Champs after grinding FUT Champs? We grinded every single FUT Champs. Was it actually worth it? And not really. And going back to history, I think I was there the first time FUT Champs was introduced in FIFA 17, and I couldn't get through to FUT Champs all the way up until March or April. And I still remember that vividly, because the first time I got into FUT Champs, I actually scored 4 daily knockout tournaments. I won the tournament with Wissam Ben Yedder. He scored multiple goals. I had that memory. It really means something. Getting into Champs was the be-all and end-all. I didn't care about the rewards, because those rewards back then, you actually had a monthly tiered system where you played 4 weekends, and you actually got the base icon you're seeing right now. You actually got that at the end of the month. You would get red icons that popped out, and they were huge. They were really good for community engagement. There were a lot of videos that were popping up, and it was really hyped to actually look at the rewards. It felt like, the easiest comparison I can give you is, it felt like a Man United squad of right now trying to feel bad about not playing in the Champions League. There is no way in hell we will actually win the Champions League. So what's the point of feeling sad of not being in there? I'm trying to really explain how it actually would felt at the back in that day. I didn't really care about getting into champs. I just wanted to get into champs, not the rewards. I wasn't going to get the top tier rewards. And the good thing was, I didn't feel like I was missing out on anything. I really didn't feel like I was missing out. Whereas right now, I have to play every weekend of champs because it's that what if? What if I pack that amazing red? What if I pack that amazing? This will be my week. I need to give it a go. And I think it's a change in pace. I think as I think you mentioned this in the Discord, Dan, if EA had just come out and changed the word of FUT champs to FUT elite, you mentioned something along those lines, something to revamp the mode, I think we would feel completely different. I think right now a lot of people are feeling aggrieved because this is a mode that we were allowed to get into, and now it's suddenly become much harder to get into. And that's why.
Can I just jump in quickly as well? Because I think this ties in, although we've not touched on Rivals, but Rivals games are going up to the equivalent of 15 wins. I think it's also quite good because the rewards will probably be better in Rivals. We've seen them tweak that as they've gone in 24. But also having to try and get 15 wins in Rivals, especially if you're in maybe Div 2, Div 1, Elite, like that's going to be a grind as well. So to add champs into it as well, I think they've done quite a good way on paper of kind of addressing all these different situations. Not saying it's going to work out perfectly, and I'm not saying everyone's going to be over the moon by this, but I think it's a fine balancing act. And when you read through it without rose-tinted glasses and with like a very level-headed view, I think actually you can see what they're trying to do.
Well, they've put basically a description, the purpose behind each game mode. And this goes back to that whole point of they're trying to differentiate things because they thought it was all bleeding together a bit too much. And there actually wasn't seemingly much difference between, Rivals, Friendlies and Champs. It was all kind of the same, wasn't it? Now, how many times did we go on this show last year saying Friendlies feels as sweaty as Rivals feels as sweaty as Weekend League? It was just all the same. You're facing the same quality of players. It was only in playoffs where you had that break. And I think Nath makes a very good point. We kind of almost need to have this conversation once we've just talked about all of the different game modes. But just to park FUT champs for a little while, I understand the concerns of people saying, I don't think I'm going to be able to qualify and win 3 games out of 5. Okay, you might not win 3 games out of 5 straight away. But let's just, the basic mass of this is this. If the people are winning 3 games out of 5 to get through, that means 40% of the people who enter will get through. You also then get a second chance. So the 60% that didn't make it then get another chance. And then 40% of that 60% will go through. I might be losing people with the maths here. But effectively, about 60% of people will either make it first or second time. 60% of the player base is a large number. This isn't gatekeeping it to like the top 10% of people. This is just saying, and the whole thing that EA have said about this is they don't want people to go into FUT champs and go on long losing streaks. And I'm really being bluntly sorry about this. But if you're struggling and have been struggling to get 4 or 5 wins in playoffs, and then you're going into FUT champs and you're scraping your way to 9 wins or even less than that, because a lot of people win less than that, it's probably not the best state for your mental health. It's going to encourage you to chase things. It's going to lead to frustrations. And I think EA's hope is that, okay, by the time you are getting to 3 wins out of 5, you've proven you can handle that pressure environment. And then you go into FUT champs and you'll have a better time of it. But as Shaq has kind of said, the way they've tiered the rewards is that the people who are at the top of FUT champs are now going to have teams and coins and resources so far above everybody else that they'll just rise further up. Those of us that aren't hitting those rewards will sit in a different zone, and those people not making FUT champs at all will sit in a different zone. And the good thing about that is that now you're going to hopefully be facing people of your own ability level. You're going to face the people that have got similar teams to you, and will hopefully make the whole experience of this game better. Now, we'll come back to FUT champs because there's a lot of different opinions on that. We've expressed ours. Members of our Discord, of course, if you join up, you can join the Discord absolutely free. You can have your say there. And also, getting a quick plug in, if you want to go the extra mile, patreon.com/FUT in review. Loads of great benefits, including the brand new show with John Artyom talking tactics and stuff. So if you want to improve and reach these new competitions, that is one of your best ways to do so. Patreon.com/FUT in review. But let's talk about the changes to rivals and friendlies, because this very much leads into why EA have changed Champions Finals. So, rivals, their new purpose is apparently your everyday destination for online competitive play. They say, as you can see in the Champions section, your division in Rivals will play a key role in helping you qualify. Back in August, we covered a large number of changes to Rivals, including draws, checkpoints, relegation, their legacy placements, etc., etc. All of these changes are centered around helping you play at your level. Naturally, rewards are a big component of that equation too. With such a large fan base, it's tricky to get the balance right for everyone as we think about the right number of matches for weekly rewards. As you can imagine, there's a big difference between the number of matches played in the Elite Division versus Division 8. In FC25, we're increasing the number of wins required for weekly rewards from 3 to 5. And for weekly upgraded rewards, they go up from 7 to 15. It will also be a point system, so that looks like 45 points. And bear in mind, you will also get 1 point for a draw. So if you ended up with 13 wins and 6 draws, you would also get the same rewards there. And they've also highlighted how the rewards will be improved. It's worth saying as well, gone are the option 1, 2, and 3. It's just one option now if you get the rewards. And they've given an example of what Elite Division Rivals will bring. It will get you 75,000 coins, 2 tradable 85 plus picks, an untradeable 75 gold rare players pack, a tradable 50 gold rare players pack, a tradable mega pack, and 2 untradable Team of the Week player packs. They also say at the same, go on to say that they're getting rid of the fact that you can pick between 3 different options as well. So Shaq, with that in mind and the changes to Rivals, how do you think that kind of blends in with what they're doing to FUT Champs? Are you happy about it? Are you not happy about it? Tee off.
It's really hard to know unless we actually see the reward structure for maybe Div 1, Div 2, Div 3, Div 4, just to understand what the disparities, what we're actually grinding for. If, for example, a regular person ends up in Division 5 and the rewards are not at the same level of champs, but something close enough that will actually satiate you and keep your club ticking along nicely with some fodder coming in, I think that's just about fine. I personally think that's just about fine if you can get to that. And to add the icing on the cake would be if you can actually start getting into the routine of qualifying comfortably to champs, playing a few rounds of champs and maybe finishing in rank 7 or 6. Job done. It's wonderful if you can achieve that in an easy-ish way, and it doesn't seem very hard. But we really haven't seen what the reward structure would be at the lower divisions. But I think compared to last year Rivals did feel like a chore, especially for you guys in Elite, and even I think Div 1 was okay, but I think Elite was I think Div 1 was hard. Yeah, Div 1 was actually hard. Elite was easier for you guys, but I don't know. It can't be if the competition is like last year. I can't think about getting 15 wins, especially in Elite or Div 1. That's a lot of wins to try and grind to. So I'm really hoping that the matchmaking is slightly improved. And hopefully, it's not as grindy as last year.
Yeah, on a very basic math level, I mean, you're looking to get 15 wins. You're looking at getting at least 2 to 3 wins per day. And I think if you are being pitched at a level of roughly your ability level, I mean, it's going to take you, 25 games? Probably, maybe slightly less. Again, if you over time, if you find yourself not getting promoted, other people will be coming up and you might get slightly easier games. But I think probably 20 an absolute minimum, and maybe even up to 30 games, Nath. I mean, you are someone that has traditionally not played FUT Champs because of time issues and stuff like that. I mean, as someone that has played a load of Rivals, I mean, you were someone that would knock off your 7 wins on the day of rewards most of the time. I mean, are you in favour of this change and sort of putting a bigger emphasis back onto Rivals?
So this is very much for me a wait and see, to be honest. I obviously got into Champs sort of after Christmas time this year. Rivals for me, I've actually been probably one of the very few, along with our great leader John, that actually has enjoyed Rivals on the whole. Div 1 I always hated because I always thought Div 1 was probably the sweatiest to try and get out of. It'll be interesting to see how this works along with the reduced checkpoints, because I think they've said they're going to reduce the checkpoints in the divisions. I think it'll obviously increase people to play, which probably will be good, because there was times, especially sort of in the Elite Division, where you're waiting for ages for games, and then my ping was ridiculous, meaning I was matching with people miles away or whatever. I think it could be really good. My only downside to the change to rivals actually is relegation, and that's purely because I would go through fits and spurts where I'd want to change my team and play with random players that I'd like rather than being very good. So you would, you'd occasionally go on a few losing streaks, and then you'd be forced to go and use a good one so you didn't get relegated, whatever. But again, they've not really said how that's going to work if you go below X amount of points, or if is it relegation at the end of the season. Like, they haven't really elaborated from what I've seen on how it's going to work. So I'm a Rivals fan. I do like Rivals, and I think if people are struggling for weekend league or champs, whatever it's called now, I think the Rivals could be quite good. It's a way to home your craft as well, so you've got a better chance of qualifying and obviously doing better in champs. I think it's a good sort of good premise, but again, I'll withhold judgment until a few weeks into the cycle when we have probably our FC25 so far pod, and then we can kind of reassess how it is. But I think it's looking positive.
Yeah, look, I'm hoping that there will be so many players playing Rivals now that it will feel more like the old kickoff modes that you used to get on FIFA and PES and stuff back in the day, where it was just kind of it was competitive, but no game was absolute do or die. It wasn't this absolute sweaty rush to get your 7 wins. It was a kind of like, okay, more people are playing this, the rewards are worth it, everybody's going to be doing their best. And like you've touched on with relegation and things like that, and the whole thing of this pitch notes and what they said, even the notes before this, they're trying to get people at the right level now. They're trying to stop people getting trapped above their ability, and they're trying to get people to stop, sitting lower than where they should be. So they're removing as many incentives as possible to sit in a lower division. And the only way they can realistically do that is by, making movement up and down much easier, and also making those rewards better. I mean, look, there are probably still going to be people that are like, well, I want to get my 14 wins a lot easier, so I'm going to sit in Div 4. Maybe people that spend a lot of money on packs, for example, or people that don't necessarily need the rewards. But for most people, I'm hoping that they see those Elite Division rewards, they're worth fighting for. They're much better than the guff we were getting for 7 wins throughout most of FC24. That is a huge difference. I mean, 2 tradable 85 plus player picks, 1 of 4. In the first few weeks of the game, that is huge. That could quite easily get you a $250,000 coin player or bigger. So, of course, you'd be trying to do your best to get up the divisions, and you wouldn't be sitting down. And that way, you're going to have people that are not really caring about Rivals, just getting their 7 wins, sitting in Div 2, whatever it is. They'll be fighting. They'll be having to try and get 15 wins. So they'll be trying to get to Elite. And those people that do maybe sometimes get there, like myself, and then suddenly realize, oh, we're a bit in over our head here, you'll get knocked back down again. And suddenly you'll start feeling games that are more comfortable. And you won't have this. The hope is that you won't have this innate feeling of, I've got to go to. We all said, didn't we? We went to playoffs to chill because it was the open matchmaking. And you knew that probably you were going to win 70% of your games. There was no pressure on it because for people and again, we will very much get onto the perspective of those people that are not at our ability level. This is not a smug fest. Oh, we're the greatest FUT players in the world. And this all revolves around us. But I'm just speaking from personal experience. The whole idea is that EA are like, you shouldn't really be using Champions playoffs to chill and experiment with teams. That's why we're changing Rivals. And it leads into what they're doing to Live FUT Friendlies as well. And they've said, again, their purpose tagline for Live FUT Friendlies is your shared playground for squad experimentation. And I'm not going to read the notes, but we've talked about this before. It's going to be form-based matchmaking. So kind of like what we used to see in Rivals with ELO. So if you were kind of like a few games above 500, you get slightly harder games. If you're a few games below, you hopefully get some slightly easier games. And they've also said that you're going to be able to do lots more Evos and objectives within Friendlies. So no longer have that, we all had it where you have an annoying Evo objective of play 5 games in Rivals. And I'm trying to evolve a 67 rated Sam Smith. And it's a case of hoping I can bring him off the bench at some stage that's not going to cripple my team. So that'll be gone. So hopefully FUT Friendlies will now just be a chill place where you'll see lots of different teams, lots of different objectives, and it will be that nice chill out area. And they're hopefully going to, yeah, sorry, go on.
Sorry, as long as they do, I think they've touched on this in other pods, but as long as they don't cap the games again, how they started off at the start of the cycle, it was, you had to win 7 out of 10 or something like that. And that was sweaty no matter what level you're at. even with this open matchmaking, that would still be sweaty, because if you're playing people at your level, you'd realistically win 1 and 2 if it's at your level. So if they keep it open, then I think friendlies could be the bit that everyone likes to go and have fun. You'll see a lot more co-ops, I think, in that mode, which I'm buzzing about. And like we were saying, I didn't want I didn't want the relegation back because of squad experimentation, but friendlies could easily replace that. If you win, you're closer to an objective. If you lose, I've lost.
And it's a bigger. I think this goes to the whole entire core of why we sit here and why we play it. Why do you play this game? Now, are you just playing for rewards? And if you are just playing for rewards, why are you playing for those rewards? Are you playing for those rewards because you think you need the very best team to be competitive at your level? Or, and everyone will have their own motivations. But I absolutely understand what EA are trying to do here by they're trying to make sure that every mode is different and that as much as possible, you're playing players that are around the same level as you, because we've all been there. We don't want to be sat in leagues and in competitions and stuff where we're getting either thumped. And as much as we do enjoy easy wins, I'm not going to sit here and say I don't enjoy, handing out a 5-0, beating every once in a while. But realistically, that should be an anomaly, like it is in real football. In real football, it's designed of, you get the odd FA Cup or whatever, but most of the time you're playing league opposition and people above your skill level. So that's what we should be playing. And again, the people who are going to be getting the very best teams and these very best rewards, you're not going to face them. That's the thing. You might face them. You might face them a little bit in Champions finals and you might face them in playoffs, but you probably won't be facing them much in rivals and you probably won't be facing them much in FUT friendlies. So that will be the difference. The one thing, though, that stuck out to me about the changes to FUT friendlies, and it's interesting as to whether this is, they haven't explicitly said if this bleeds into FUT champs, is they're now making it so that your result in terms of how it affects your form will only count if you play the full game. So you can't now go, oh, do you know what? I want some easy friendly matchmaking. I'm just going to score own goals in 5 straight games and get myself to a -5 elo. That won't count. You have to see out the entire game, which is good because I understand why EA are trying to do it. They're trying to get people to stop doing that, to artificially just go, I'll just lose a load of games. Friendlies, it doesn't count. I'll just lose a load of games and then I'll get some easy games. But on the bad side, Nath, it now means I think you're going to get lots more people rubber banding. And if you have got a bit of a mismatch, say you're 4-0 up on someone in 10 minutes, you're going to have to play that game, or vice versa. If you're 4-0 down by half time, you're going to have to play out that entire game if you want your form to be affected.
Yeah, that could be frustrating. And we've all been sitting here going, we wish they would just give you a win for quit. However, from what I've read and what other people have said, that's more like a coding issue, and it's so deep rooted in the game that it's not a quick fix, not an easy fix. So I wonder whether this is their way of saying, actually, if you quit, you're getting no benefit whatsoever, which, it's annoying, but at least it's in friendlies and not in rivals, where I think the friendly games are a couple of minutes shorter. So it'd be more annoying if it was in rivals and, they had to play out or whatever. But if it's in friendlies and, if you're having to rubber band, or if someone's rubber banding you, keep the ball, don't let the ball go out of play, let the clock down quicker. And then, it's still frustrating, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, you can see this is the kind of intermediate workaround until something more can be done, I think.
Yeah, you a fan of it, Shaq?
Not at all. Not at all. I think the fact that half the fun I used to have in friendly modes as well is getting a quick rage quit and moving on and finishing those objectives. So I think that's going to be a bit of getting used to trying to play out games and facing people that are rubber banding. And people are not going to really know about the form and matchmaking, and they'll just continue doing that in champs and rivals and all these modes as well. So I think last year we were finding with some of the objectives as well, people are not quitting out on certain games, and I think that'll continue into this year with every mode. People will just not quit, and that's not going to be fun.
I don't think it's going to change people's opinions that much, because if it's like, people won't go, I'm going to quit to go down like in my match break, and they'll just keep the sort of behaviours they've learned already, I think. So I think people that would quit at 2-3-0 down will still quit. I think they'll just go, I fancy my chances at this level against somebody different to that one person I'm playing. So I don't think you'll see a noticeable difference either way, to be honest.
Yeah, and Adam, who joins us for the live chat, of course, again, if you are a member of the Discord, you'll get the link to join our studio for the live recordings. He says exactly the same as you, Nath. He said he still thinks people will quit out for that. So, look, we could spend hours on all these game modes, but we realise that everyone's got finite time, not least John, who will have to edit this whole thing for us. So we don't want to burn him out before the game's even released. But I am going to circle back to the main sort of contentious talking point, which was playoffs and finals. And I'm going to read out some of the feedback we've had in the Discord. John Talking Foot asked us for our thoughts on the new champs mode being extra sweaty and the whole gatekeeping to enter. Ingvi says, hate the new rivals, qualifiers and champs setup. I have limited time to play during the week, so now I'll miss out on most competitive modes to test myself. Forcing people to play full matches have ELO kick in. It's also a very bad move. Hate it. And Adam, who we just spoke about, says, my take on the new set for weekend league and qualifying is that they reduce the amount of games played in the two most fun modes, and making it harder for people to qualify isn't fair. I don't like that it's excluding more people from weekend league, and I suspect they'll drop it down to 2 out of 5 wins in a future season. Also, do you need to attain points to try and qualify again if you miss out on 3 out of 5? As always, I hope it changes for the better, but I can't see it. Reducing my favourite modes from 30 to 20 games is super rubbish, and I find it hard to see the benefit. And John Talking For also adds, do you think the timing of these updates would have affected pre-sales? Why time it for just a few days before the early Ultimate release? Shaq, any of those that you want to pick up on?
I think it's just the number of games. I think we've discussed the number of games being adjusted, and it actually kind of makes sense to reduce the number of games. I think in one way we're reducing the number of games that we're playing in champs and increasing the number of games that happen in rivals. And the other part about in releasing the information now and not during pre-sale or those kind of pre-order times, it's a tricky one. It's really tricky. I understand where the commentary is coming from in the sense that EA kind of lulled us into this. It's going to be exactly the same. Everything's going to be nice and warm, and suddenly it feels like they've pulled the rug under us. But if you actually read the pitch notes and what they've actually, some of the information they've put in the pitch notes is really stereotypical to what the community has felt as a whole. Some of the things some of the words, the key words they used were something that was shared across the community as well. So I think we should probably just wait and watch how things pan out, and then maybe have a better judgment in a month's time. I think that'll probably give us a really good outlook as to how this year is going to pan out. It's really, I think, I was just mentioning this to someone earlier that we want things to change but yet stay the same, and it's a weird cycle that we like. We want things to change because it's boring, and then we get frustrated that things are changing. So, yeah.
Nathan, anything you want to pick up on any of the feedback?
No, I think Shaq's kind of hit the nail on the head, to be honest. But you know, I'm not an EA sympathist by any means, and they have many faults which we pretty much weekly cover. But one thing to bear in mind is they do seem to change things quite quickly now. Like the FC24, things moved when feedback got too much. Not saying they fix all the mistakes by any means, but things like this, like qualifying, like we've said, like things have changed. So just because it's in for season 1, which I think I read was 6 weeks, so you've got 3 times per week to try and qualify. So I think we may see changes going. I don't think it's going to be super easy for any of FC25 unless you've got a God squad, but I don't think as you know, never too high, never too low. Is one of my footballing podcasts that I listen to says, I think this is kind of one of those moments where you need to sort of never too high, never too low. See what, like we said, we'll definitely do a sort of mini review sort of after full release. Adam's point though was quite interesting because I'd never even considered that. But if you still have to get points for qualifying, if you're trying to do 2 or 3 times a week, that's a lot of rivals games to try and squeeze in, plus your qualifying games itself. So it'll be interesting to see if there are qualification points required, and if there is, like what level they set that at per division as well. I think that's one that could actually probably irk me more than the actual changes to the qualifying.
Yeah, Chris Grandpapa Mac adds in the live chat, from a company that couldn't get content correct, do we have any confidence they will get it right? They've ditched the ladder system already. And look, I absolutely take that point, and I absolutely understand the frustrations. I think, Shaq, you talked about it earlier. I think the way they delivered this messaging was poor, and I can see why John's Talking Foot's point about why we're only getting this now. They would have saved themselves such a lot of this drama if they had just, as we said earlier, called this the Elite Cup. Or if they'd used their champion, I've said this on the show, you could have had this idea for free. You could have called it the Champions League. And then also, why not give those people that don't qualify the other mode? I think that is the thing that they're missing out on. Just say, look, if you fail to qualify, you can enter the Europa League. And you get a chance to, if you have played all your rivals games or you just like a different mode, enter the Europa League and you get a lower tier of rewards. It's not going to hurt anybody. And then it still makes people feel included. I just think it's the whole giving somebody something and then taking it away again. That's what's really annoyed a lot of people. And that fear of suddenly missing out. And there's a big ego element to this, and I include myself in this, in that it will hurt my pride if I don't qualify, because I'm used to playing in weekend league and I'm used to getting a certain rank. And if I get 2 wins out of 5, I will probably feel really bad about myself and my ability to play this game. But I just have to get over that and accept that if I'm not good enough to get there, well, what are my options? Either I don't enter that mode because I'm not good enough, or I go back into any of these other modes, work on my team, work on my tactics, or, as Nath is so proudly showing, use a service like FUT coaching, which is the very best place and the way I have previously taken my... It sounds like a shill, and it is, but it's the truth. I've had a couple of sessions with John and some other guys at Team FUT coaching, and they've pointed to things in my games that I very quickly... And I'm not talking, I'm not paid for like 8 weeks worth of coaching and then they've only given me the key tips at the end. Within minutes, they're able to go, you're doing this and this. Stop doing that or start doing this and you will notice a big difference, and it does. So hopefully this whole just encourages people to get better. And I think it goes back to the whole thing that they said about FUT champs is they don't want people going into this mode. If you're going into a mode and only winning 6 out of 20 games, is that really a good experience for anybody? I mean, I personally don't think so. Others might disagree, but that is that. So look,
can we circle back?
Sorry, go on.
John. Sorry, John Talking Foot's point about the pre-orders as well. If you're listening to this pod, if you're in the Discord, if you're getting this wound up by it, there's a good chance that you may say, I'm not pre-ordering it, but 99% of people would still pre-order it. Let's be honest, like, you know, we are slightly addicted. That's what's going to happen. So I've seen, you know, on socials and even in Discords, I'm not ordering it, or I'm, you know, this, that. Let's be honest, guys. We're all pre-ordered it. We all would still pre-order it regardless.
And I think Shaq has got the best point of and yourself, Nate, the best points is let's wait and see. The guys have sort of hinted in the past, and we've been talking on the Discord, look, they changed playoffs before. If you remember, it started with winning 5 out of 9. And my word, was that a sweaty experience at the start of, I think, what was it, FIFA 22? Oof. And then they changed it to 5 out of 10 and then 4 out of 10. So they might tweak it. Ultimately, if EA start noticing loads of people dropping off the game or not spending FIFA points, they will change things back. So, you know, this will very much be a process that will get tweaked. I absolutely understand what Chris has said, and it's noticing already with the game's not even out, and we've already had a direct communications tweet because some of the ratings are wrong on the webpage. So well done, EA. Before your game's even out, you've had to change something. So, look, they haven't earned a lot of trust from us, but the way the developer who wrote these pitch notes, the lead developer, I'm going to get his name wrong, Gordon Farquhar, I believe is how you pronounce his name. They have done their very best to explain these changes. And I know we've been rattling through stuff in the space of 40 minutes, but I very much encourage everyone to read it overall and then wait and see. But I do understand the anger of those people that feel they're being excluded. I absolutely understand that. And I think the communication and the timing of this could have been handled a lot better rather than dropping it just before we go into the game. But, and I take a big, deep breath, there is so much more to get into, and we are already, as I just said, 40 minutes into the show. So let's get on to it. Evolutions, they've just kind of clarified some of the changes to Evos. We just mentioned some of the objectives are going to be in things like friendlies and rush modes. The good thing is now is that they're basically not going to exclude a lot of players from Evolutions. Previously, they had hard caps. So if you were above 85 pace, you wouldn't be eligible for an Evo. Now they're going to make the whole thing a lot more wider. So they've given an example of a player who might have had 85 pace and he wouldn't have been eligible for an upgrade before. Now he still will be, but the whole final upgrade level is going to be capped. So in this example, a player who starts with 80 pace will, with the Evo upgrade, will go up to 90. If you start with 85 pace, you will still only go up to 90. And if you are at 92 pace, you just don't get any boost at all. But they do say there will be some still caps. So in this example, the max speed was 95. So it's only that 95 rated pace player that wouldn't be eligible. Chaps, from my point of view as a Reading fan, I've been dying for these changes. We talked about this in our wrap-up show, didn't we, Shaq? This is now going to let you basically Evo whoever you want, and slowly over the course of a year, or even not slowly, get the particular players you want to a different level. So I think, again, a universal good move.
I think this one's a win-win because from EA's perspective, people are not just evoing the most meta option. So you can still go ahead and chase your meta options from packs. And from a user-based perspective, you can evo just solely the players that you like from your club or players that are close to your heart. So it's a win-win in my opinion.
Absolutely. Other changes, XP is no more. It's been replaced by SP, season points. And the interesting thing about here, Nath, is that you'll be able to get season points from doing other game modes as well. So if you play in things like Pro Clubs, Rush, Career Mode, you might be able to earn some points that go towards your season pass. And the season pass also unlocks certain things from those other game modes as well. And again, one of their stated intentions behind that is to kind of encourage people not to think I can only invest my time in Ultimate Team. I can dip into other modes, getting rid of that FOMO of, I need to play my 4 games in squad battles to get my XP. Now you can pop off for a couple of hours, play a bit of career mode, and you'll still be working towards your season pass objectives. So, I mean, personally for me, that's great because I am always tempted to dip into something like Pro Clubs, but that little devil on my shoulder is like, no, you have to get your XP, get to level 30.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you there. I mean, I don't really play any other game modes. I've occasionally dip into seasons for every now and then when United get beat and I want to try and make them win a game for once. So it does kind of, like you say, get rid of the FOMO. It'll be interesting to see again how that works, though, because I'm not convinced that it'll be the full SP sort of points. You get, say, 500 in Ultimate Team, but you may only get 200 or 300 in different modes. It'll be interesting to see how that converts across. But again, I feel like I'm getting splinters in my backside here because I'm very much sitting on the fence with wait and see. But again, the premise is there and you can see what they're doing. It's just I've never got full confidence in execution.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, go Shaq.
There's been some concerns raised where people have suggested that EA might expect us to go play those other modes to get some objectives completed. And I have a feeling it's the other way around. It's the cynic in me is EA is trying to drive all the career mode players and the Pro Clubs players to FUT because if they are gaining season points from playing those game modes and suddenly they get a free pack in Ultimate Team, they're more driven to come to Ultimate Team. And I think that's what's at play here.
Oh, you cynic, Shaq. You trying to suggest that EA would be driving people towards a mode where they would then spend additional money? What kind of company would do that? I think it's how, ridiculous thoughts, but no, I absolutely agree. They've also talked about some of the things they're going to be doing across the seasons. Again, they kind of tied it in with rewards, saying that hopefully they're going to make rewards more in tune with things they're doing across the season. So we've seen it in the past where they've had instead of just red picks, it was road to the final picks and things like that. So hopefully that's going to be more. They're talking about doing the new concept this year, the World Tour. They're going to start with Spain. To deliver a unique regional experience each and every season. They're going to be new squad foundations as well. Squad foundations players are going to have slightly better chem as well to encourage you more to use them. And a good tip of the day, and I'm going to get to the nice little sound bowl here. Hold on. FUT Coaching's top tip. So the first one is FUT Coaching's top tip. So good you've heard me twice. There is based around Spain, as I've just mentioned. So if you're packing some good Spanish players in your opening packs, maybe just hold on to those because they will be more in demand with Spanish theme objectives. So that is one of our top tips of the day. And Nath, this is a good one because this is something that I know me and you talked about on other shows. they'd got away from that whole reason to have a really good Spain squad, Germany squad, Italy squad. You just kind of needed your first team, and that was it. And it sounds like they're now going to have more incentive for you to, have different teams and make use of a wider pool of players.
Yeah, I mean, we're all quite keen squad builders here as well, so I think it's a good thing. The only sort of downside to it is we know in the past, like, these foundation type players have been behind the curve after about 3 days. So if they can keep up with what's really happening in it, I think it could be really good fun and just add a bit more variety, because we kind of very quickly saw, although there was opportunities to have different squads out there, a lot of people, like you guys touched on in the wrap up, had very similar teams, kind of pretty much post team of the year, really, let alone getting to tots and footy. So I think if they execute it right, it could be really good fun, and then you get a lot of variety in it. So yeah, on paper, tremendous. Let's see if it carries on that way.
Seems to be very much the theme. Good. I think we should title the show "Good on Paper."
Yeah, absolutely.
I think FC25 "Good on Paper," I think, will be the title of this show. We'll see if John agrees with us. Going to finalise this show with some thoughts on the market, which kind of leads into our whole what we're going to be doing in these first few days of the game. One of the features they've also added now to cards, Shaq, is that when you're flicking your right stick and you're going through all like the weak foot and stuff, now there will be an average price tab available. So you'll be quickly able to see, oh, that player averagely goes for 40k coins. Now they have even stated in these pitch notes that it's still better to go to what they say as community websites, aka Footbin and FootGG, to get more accurate pricings. But I think the trader in you, your eyes lit up at the possibilities for this to generate profit.
Oh, look, there's so many ways this can be and will be manipulated. And I was just joking in the Discord that they would be trading Discords set up just to manipulate the average price. And it's simple to get to do, but we don't really have too much information. We don't necessarily know if the average price is based on a 24-hour range, or if it's longer than that or shorter than that, and how dynamic it is. But the one good thing is, if you do bronze pack method or silver packs or whatever things like that, when you open the packs, you can see the average price. If it's above 250 coins, 350 coins, that's a really good advantage. The rest of it, I think the prices are going to be extremely manipulated.
Yeah, just in general, with a whole new reward system and things like that, this could really transform the way the market has worked, because we've had such a drive towards untradeable and pretty rubbish rewards over the past couple of years that prices have just been in the toilet very early doors, because not a lot of people have got coins. Whereas now, as I just mentioned, people getting hit in rank 1 and in rank 2, rank 3 are going to be getting close to 1 million coins. So, Shaq, this could very well see us back to the kind of prices that we saw in FIFA 2019, 18, where you would get say an Osman Dembele gold card still being 200k, a decent chunk into the game cycle.
Definitely. I think the elite cards like the Mbappes and the likes are just going to keep increasing in value from the day of release all the way till maybe the second or third FUT champs. And I can see really high prices on those cards, higher than we've ever had before, because there's so many coins coming into the market, and the rewards to actually get to the top rewards within FUT champs are significantly higher than they used to be. There is an incentive for people to make better teams. So I can see the cards going really high, really, really high. I think if you back someone really good, really at the top, maybe the top 15, top 20 cards in the game, it's definitely just hold on to them.
Yeah, hold on to those, but maybe be more tempted to sell the starter team style players. So I know like Mickey van der Ven is a popular one, the Tottenham defender, because he's got high pace, but he's got a low rating. And as we've seen, players are going to be getting 75 gold rare player packs on the first Thursday after the game's release. So players like that will get packed a lot, but they will be very popular in those initial first few days before rewards. So maybe sell those earlier. But as Shaq said, hold on to the very, if you pack an Mbappe, the price is just going to go up and up and up as more people get coins, but the demand for those very top tier players will only go up, and the supply doesn't necessarily go up hugely for your likes of your Mbappes, your Hutlers, etc. And what a lovely position that would be to be in. But Nath, what is your approach? when you first get this game, what are you going to be doing? Are you going to be beavering away on the web app? Are you going to be diving into offline games, online games? Talk us through sort of your initial thoughts on how you're going to handle it.
So I think, depending on the time of the app launch on Thursday, I'll certainly be doing that. I'll probably, with the start of Nation, I'm probably for the first time ever going to go Spain, considering that's the new one. Then I'll probably kind of mix between what SBCs I can do. I'll not be in a massive rush to do them, because we know there's going to be packs coming out of every orifice for this. So I think we'll just kind of grind the online offline game modes. My main thing is to try and do all the easily attainable objectives that give you decent packs. Usually there's score 500 goals, 100 volleys, whatever it is. Get them in and just build out the club a little bit to begin with. So I don't want to go into rivals with people that have spent probably thousands of pounds on points straight away and get absolutely hammered. So I might dip in and out, but I'd rather kind of get some of the objectives and fill out the squad a little bit first. Keep an eye on the market. I've got a feeling it's going to be the top tier cards are going to be so unobtainable, and then it'll be a little bit like we've had this year. There's going to be a point where it's going to be hard to increase your team with coins unless you've got elite level coins anyway. So I think I'll try and have an untradeable team as early as we can, make use of that, and kind of just see what objectives and SBCs are easily done, and then just kind of I say casually glide my way through it. But we all know that after 3 days it'll not be casual.
Yeah, Ingvi asked as well, do you think people throwing themselves into the objectives to get as many packs as possible will burn them out even earlier on 24? I mean, I don't think so, Shaq. I just think people will just go for it, and it's part of the fun, in inverted commas. You can tie it in with evolutions and stuff like that. I should have mentioned as well, by the way, in the features, squad battles. I know John, head of FUT coaching, his favourite game mode. He loves it. He talks non-stop about squad battles. The bad news for super fans like John is it's only 14 games a week in squad battles now to get your rewards. So the days of playing 30 or 40 games are long gone. Shaq, how are you going to handle these first couple of days?
I think it's going to be squad battles for the first couple of days for me to get to grips with the game and just to understand what I can and can't do, and use the offline mechanics as much as possible, and try and build get the objectives done, do some SBCs. I think I do enjoy the early round of SBCs, especially they're a good money churner as well from a trading perspective, and also they're fun to get complete and get some tradable packs. Hopefully they're tradable this year, but that's what I usually would do. And once I think I'm comfortable with my team, that's when I'll venture into rivals and see where I stand.
How are you going to spend your pre-order FIFA points and any additional FC points that you may or may not load on? What's your kind of thinking?
Packs. I'm not
gold packs, or are you going to wait for promo ones?
No, day one gold packs. I don't care. I think we've always said this. Day one, if you're spending any money, opening any packs, spending your FIFA points, day one or bust. There's no point of doing it after the day one. You're getting the advantage. You're getting the early mover advantage of opening packs on the first day. Take it. Just take it, and don't look after that. And I think I'll be frank and honest. I have been considering about spending some money on FIFA points. It could be a maximum of 4,600. I tag on to the 4,600 I have, and that's it for the year for me.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I may tack on a little bit just to give it that extra boost and to be able to get into the market and things like that, and just make an event of it. Again, I just fight by myself. If I was going out that night and I was going to a bar or a pub, I'd probably spend that on a meal. So that's my entertainment, is open a bit packs. But as we've consistently said, you don't have to do it. It looks like there are more ways than ever to obtain packs. So again, please do not put yourself into please don't chase these big cards, and don't put yourself under any kind of financial pressure to do so as well. So much that we could be talking about, but we are at the hour point. So I'm going to wrap up the show there. The good news, everybody, is that John will be back on Friday night with the main show. Again, our Patreon listeners will be able to get into John and Artyom talking deep in tactics. Nath, I know you're going to get involved in that show as well. Myself and Shaq, we might be back with some kind of a trading overview. I think the two of us are going to have to kind of wait and see. I know Shaq's got wide eyes as I sprung this on him. But I think for the two of us, I think our whole trading advice, if we'd recorded this show Sunday night, would be completely different to today. We just need to see how it goes before we get in on anything. But of course, the Discord is always open. If you have questions about sell or keep or coin making, anything like that, please join the Discord. That is what it's there for. And if you do want to help support us, again, John and Chris went through so many of the new features, the community team of the week, loads of stuff that is coming up. Go check out that show from last week. It goes a deep dive into everything we're doing here. And we're trying to make this the best community possible here at FUT in Review, and obviously with the guys over at FUT Coaching. The whole idea is to help each other, support each other. And that's what, and that is our main mission. Sorry, I thought you were going to say something then, Shaq. I lowered myself, but never mind. I will keep rambling on until my voice gives out. Look, thank you to everybody who continues to support us on Discord and who supports FUT Coaching, FUT in Review. Go follow us on social media. Lots of clips and stuff going out. If you like what we're doing, let us know. If you don't like what we're doing, let us know. futinreview@gmail.com. Please, we want this to be as interactive as possible, and we can only do so through your support. Best of luck to everybody as they get ready to launch the game, whether you are in New Zealand, if you're not in New Zealand, wherever you are, whenever you get on this game. Most of all, have fun. Don't take it too seriously. Enjoy it. You know, for me, it's one of the best times of this whole game here. I look forward to it so much, and I'm just really excited. Shaq, anything for you to add before we go?
All I have to say is, if you're not qualifying for champs, do not be disheartened, and do not think that you have to better your team to get forward in champs. That's not really the way you should be looking at it. I've been there. The reason I brought up the topics about FIFA 17, I've been there where I hadn't qualified for 6-7 months in a row. It didn't bother me one bit. And I'm really hoping that it's, personally, again, I'm just speaking from my point of view, I'm really hoping it's extremely hard for me to qualify to champs, so I get a different perspective of this game, because for the last couple of years, the perspective I've had, I was a bit tired of the same old. So that's just my perspective.
Hopefully we can all lessen that FOMO factor. Nath, anything from you?
No, I think I just don't want everyone to think that we are constantly, praising EA, because I think, like I said, there's things that they do wrong. I'm feeling quite positive after reading what we've read today and sort of chatting it through as well. Doesn't mean that our views are right or even reflect other people's, but then, the pod and the Discord, these are our views, but I think it's something to be positive about. Come and join us in the Discord. If you want to chat about things, there's so many people in there that are playing, and, we are quite good at finding sort of quirky players, quirky formations, like not so much the metas, but Dan, we were very quick onto the crossing and aerial plus type things. We are old school players who like that, and obviously we still see it now. It's still the way to go. So, there's lots of benefits to have from there, and yeah, I think it's a very exciting time. The next few days is going to be like lots and lots of fun, and hopefully the Pack Pulls channel will start lighting up soon. Hopefully the tactics will start going, and I'm quite intrigued to see how it all fits together and see if it's as good as we hope, or if it's going to be a bit of a damp squib.
Yeah, look, we didn't even have time to talk about things like ratings, some of the players we're excited to be using, some of the players we really hope to be packing those first weeks. But again, the Discord's going to be a place for that, and the rest of the shows. Again, John's going to be doing a daily update as well, to keep you all on top of content and things like that. So lots to look forward to. And don't you worry, the Tuesday Club, we will return. We'll be... God, by the time we next record, we'll be a good few days into this game, and we'll certainly have a fair few opinions on it. So look, as I said, everybody have fun. Please check out the show on Friday. Patreon.com/FUT in Review if you want to go the extra mile. Discord is free. If not, like the show, like our tweets, whatever. Just do the best support you can. Hope everyone is well. And only one thing left to do, gents. Nate, we are going to...
Drop it.
Shaq?
Drop it.
We are going to drop it.
Drop it.
FUT. FUT.